Good evening, everyone. This is Jase and Tris from the Hairy Gamers. We're spending this evening with Mark Brendan from Age of Tyrants, and we're going to give the game a quick run through. We've got some Junkers on over here. Hello. And we've got some Viridians
over here.
We're running through a couple of turns just to give you a good idea of how the game works. And whenever we mess it up, as we inevitably will, Mark's going to jump in and give us some kind of guidance as to what's going on. So all you really need to play to get started is a set of tokens like these. There we go. You can print and play them straight off the website. There are also some activation counters and some suppression counters. There we go. Also both available on the website. You only need D6 and a bare scattering of terrain. 25 to 30% coverage roughly covers it. So we're just going to start a couple of turns of the game and then see how it goes. And Mark's going to jump in when we inevitably get it a little bit wrong.
Like,
so
that's a vulnerable counter.
Oh, sorry.
Not a suppression
That's
counter.
suppression.
Suppression, vulnerable, activated.
Activation is when you have finished a turn. Vulnerable is when you have pushed the unit too far. And the suppression is in essence a wound.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So we'll set up. Put our troops on the table. So
Interdict the hoppy ones, aren't they?
Interdict are the jump troops. Yeah. Okay. Right, I'm going to have you there. I'm going to pop. Get all these out of the way. There we go.
How many units can go in a tank?
4.
Not supposed. And that includes the tank itself.
No, you can fit 4 in it. It's got a carrying capacity of 4.
Cool. Gee, I wonder what you're doing.
Well, I got owned with it a few minutes ago, so I know exactly how this is going to go. Oh, actually, I can't deploy though. I can only deploy within 9 of the table edge. You're going to need that.
It's usually 12 of the table edge. However, we're playing with a slightly shorter board than a 4x4 here.
Okay, that's my commander. My commander is going to sit.
While we're having this, I apologise if Jay swears he can't help himself.
I have a potty mouth. I do apologise. Right. Where's my 9 gone?
9 is sure. What if the tank gets destroyed with people in it?
They all dismount as usual and they get a point of suppression.
Ooh. So yeah, so it's not worth risking.
And activated as well.
And activated?
Yeah.
I really wasn't. Oh, there we go. There's a tank. Okay, right. Ooh, so tough. Where to put things? Okay, right. I'm just gonna go balls out and deploy some stuff as it needs to be done. In fact, you can deploy troops within a vehicle by simply putting an activated token next to the vehicle, isn't it?
Yeah. You can't put them in that. It's only the transports that they can go in, which are the Taurus Falcons.
Okay. Right.
And in your case, that's the dire wolves and the Bigfoot.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to.
Okay. The ones that look like troop carriers rather than.
Right. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to go with it. So I'm not going to get hit with that bombardment this time, so I can bunch some people up. There we go. Okay. Right, I'm good to go. How about you?
I'm checking 3 and 3.
Alright, I'm good. Okay. Yeah, having been hit with or used the bombardment on me earlier on, Tris is now checking to make sure that no 2 of his units overlap, so he doesn't get absolutely foobarred by it. Good luck.
Good luck. Here we go.
Let's hope my rolling's a bit better. Okay.
Right, so rolling for initiative first.
Highest roll gets first turn. 6.
3.
It's the only 6 I'm going to roll today. Right. Okay.
That's the last turn start as well.
It was. You're right. Okay. First things first. I'm going to check my stats. Let's have a look. I've got some guys in exosuits. The exosuits have fairly decent anti-personnel and anti-material stuff at close range. As they get further away, obviously peters off a bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate my exosuits, who have a move of 4. So I'm going to move them into these woods over here. So if they are within 1 inch of the edge of the wood, they count as being in cover, but also get the benefit of being able to shoot out. So these guys are going to move to here. These guys are going to move around to the other side. There we go.
Technically what's happened here is that the leader of that platoon, the lieutenant, has spent 4 activation points to move each base under his command, plus himself, into the woods.
You see that little mark in the corner? That's how you can tell it's a lieutenant or not.
So I'm going to need 4 activation counters. They're all going to move and fire.
Which, in that case, you need the red one just for moving and firing.
This moving and firing will be a red token. So,
which gives extra damage if I shoot back at him in the later turn.
So they're all going to move and fire, place a token on each of them.
Well, they're shooting at the blade.
They're going to shoot at the blade, yeah. I want to get rid of that thing as fast as humanly possible.
So, they can't because they're too far in, they're too far in. They're definitely too far in.
Well, they definitely are, but they're within an inch,
Yeah.
they're within an inch, they're within an inch. And they are. So when you do line of sight, it's done centre to centre of the bases.
Centre of the bases, yeah.
When you're measuring for range, it's done closest to closest. If a piece of terrain gets in the way, obviously it blocks line of sight. There is target priority, which as I understand it is I can only target the nearest tank or
nearest type.
Yeah, nearest tank or nearest infantry closest to me of the particular type. Yeah.
Now, here is the question. This is more of an inch away from the edge and shooting. Does that count as out of cover or in cover? Because he's got...
Well, I can simply move him
Yeah.
like that. There we go to the
You
side.
know what I mean is, if you look, that's well over an inch through the tree.
If he's over an inch through the trees, he can't shoot out.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Your best off only just sitting in the trees a turn.
Okay. In which case they're just activated, aren't they?
Yes.
So,
But pull them back in so I can't shoot at you.
yeah. So they're moving back into the trees. They're not going to be shooting. They won't take the red... what's the red?
The vulnerable counters.
Vulnerable counters. They'll just take plain old yellow activated counters to show that they have this activated this turn. There we go. You're up, Tris.
Questions, right.
Oh, curse it.
What's the blade do anti-personnel?
Any blade is your tank killer. It's anti-material.
Oh, holy those 8.
So the blade, this tank here, is explicitly good at killing other tanks,
Blade tank.
which is anti-material.
8 at 9 and 8 at 24 as well. Dang it.
Oh, that sucks.
It's really silly range. But you can't shoot at really silly range. Right, you can however shoot at that.
Okay, so your blade from one platoon is going to...
Yep, so I'm activating platoon 1 using this broadsword, which I'll mark with a dice just for sake. So, activating the blade first.
Okay.
Hang on, I can get some extra support on it. Broadsword, tank is at support 2 at that range.
So what's happening here is you can use your orders to call in other vehicles within company or outside of your company or platoon to help fire at a particular target.
Yeah.
The broadsword is declaring that he's going... Well, the blade is declaring he's going to attack this Draco here, and the 2 broadswords here and here are going to support.
No, this one and this one I can't see with that one.
Okay, so it's just...
However, I can see with that one and it's in range.
Okay.
So, they're not moving, so I'll just activate them all now. This one, this one, this one. So he is at 8, and the other 2 add +2. So it's my 12 versus your...
So you start with 12 and then you add d6 to it
Yeah.
for combat, and for defence you roll suppression resistance, is it?
Suppression resistance, which is 4.
Which is 4 for the Draco.
So it's going to...
So it's 4 plus d6.
Yeah, versus my 12 plus d6.
4 plus 4 is 8 versus 17. 9 difference.
Good.
So
the difference of 9, it destroys it outright. Anything over a 6 destroys the target
Okay.
outright.
So if the difference between the 2 rolls is 6 or more, the target itself
The
is
Draco
destroyed.
Gone.
Because it's a tank rather than infantry, it's not removed from the board. It remains in play as a piece of scenery, blocking line of sight. When we play in the future, we may use tea lights with cotton wool off them to show ruined tanks, that sort of thing. Okay, and that leaves your last broadsword with something to do.
She may as well. Just move blade tighter, broadsword. Move on this sheet. Broadsword is a movement of 7. So
It's worth noting that with the actual game we will have profile cards, so you don't have to look up these tables all the time.
although actually the tables are quite handy because you can then have a bit of a
I
cast.
suppose a good comparison. Yeah.
So that's it. There's turn 1 completed.
Activation one.
Activation 1, sorry.
So in my second activation, I'm going to activate number 1. So this squad over here on my left. I'm going to use my Octorus Falx to act as a spotter, so these Dracos can perform some kind of long-range bombardment.
Come up the hill a bit though.
Okay, so I'm going to activate it. Same way as Tris did, I'm going to denote the captain by putting a dice on it. And I'm just going to roll it literally so it's flat on the top of the hill. That's all I'm going to do. I want line of sight at this blade tank over here.
Right.
So when I perform a bombardment, I get to add the bombard values of all the other vehicles participating to the roll at the target. The Dracos are 3 for bombard, aren't they?
3 for
9
bombard.
total.
I mean, you can target a point, remember, rather than an actual.
Yeah, you can put it in the middle, should you wish.
Okay, yeah, that's the,
Or even there.
in fact. It's a 3-inch diameter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I can't get both of them in a single...
You can go in the
You
middle.
can.
Aim there.
Oh, okay, okay. That's a 3-inch radius rather than a diameter.
There's 3 radius.
Radius.
3-inch radius,
It's
okay,
radius.
I'll target a point there between these two vehicles.
Yeah.
So targeting them both.
I like it if I use that for it because it's a little bombard target.
Okay, so targeting that point there, I would roll a d6. I would add...
Now for the last part of my turn, I will move my interdicts. These are hover troops. So they
Jump
can,
troops.
Jump troops, sorry. So they can go 8 inches ignoring terrain, which is remarkably useful. So we shall... Can they, I assume it's just a flat 8, they can't super move or anything.
You can do that with double with them.
Can you?
You want two, that would be 2 jumps, and they'll be vulnerable after that.
The last troops activated though, so I've got the...
Okay.
It's not a big deal. So they can go 16 inches. That's a game changer. Right, I shall hop them. 2, 3, 4. And they're all vulnerable. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The only remaining units to activate are the captains of the 2
Yep.
companies. Yeah. It's doing platoons, isn't it? I always get this confused.
Captains of the companies.
Captains of the companies, right, okay. So these are your leaders. They have an ability to activate anyone else within their army if they haven't already activated at a basic cost of 1 activation point. If you try and activate someone outside of your
command. Yeah.
your command, it costs an extra point for one of these guys down here. So he can activate anyone, but I've got no one left to go. So he's going to just move ever so slightly round to the other side of these trees. I don't think he's got a great move. I think it's 7 or 8.
It's 8.
It's 8. So he's just going to move a basic 6 to just to there. Not going too far, and he'll just activate. It's not a great deal more he can do there. There we go.
It's working out for later. And I shall activate my commander, who is pretty much pointless. He can just mooch over here.
Okay, so that's the end of the first turn. Now remove all the tokens except the suppression tokens, which are these ones. They're like wounds. So you remove all of your activation tokens. Is this called some kind of clean-up phase or maintenance phase or something like that?
If you like.
Oh, okay.
Don't actually have an official name for it. It just tells you in the rule book, remove all the counters at the end of the
Okay.
turn once everything's out of good.
We'll call it tidy up token phase.
Or end phase or something.
Yeah.
So that's the end of turn 1. It's simple as that. It's a very easy game to play.
Very simple mechanics. It's intuitive. Getting to grips with what things are called is probably going to be my biggest problem. I always get companies and platoons confused.
Yeah, there's a military jargon aspect of it. I suppose there's no avoiding that.
Yeah.
The vulnerable counters. God, I can't think of a synonym for vulnerable which is going to be easier to remember.
Shaken.
Pinned.
Pinned. No, because pinned is used in another model-based game.
I think both shaken and
Yeah.
pinned have a slightly different context to them that indicates that you've. It's more along the lines of suppression, almost.
Yeah, there's not a good word for it, is there?
Okay, so shall we roll off for activation again?
Yep.
I need some luck. Oh, come on. It continues. Okay, so Triss has burst. Activation. I wonder what this is going to be.
To be fair, I've got 2 or 3 options.
But they're all shooting at the same thing, aren't they?
No? I'm not overly worried about the bombard, to be honest.
Plus, I don't think that blade is anywhere within range.
It's not, that's what I was measuring earlier.
However,
However, I can move him and then
You could, yeah.
just shoot that way. That's what I was measuring to 24 from there. Which it is, you see.
Gotcha.
Oh, exactly. But then it's working out the broadsword's range at that is only +2, it's always been +2. So he can stay where he is, he has to move a little bit. So I'm going to activate Squadron 1, which is this guy over here, which will come out with the dice. And then the blade is moving down a hill, half movement, isn't it?
Moving down the hills.
Just straight.
No effect.
It's a 6, isn't it? So he's going to come here, which will put him bang within range, 24. Broadsword pivot. This one then has to come here. He's then within 24. He's within 24. Yep, and yes. The blade's attack at that range is 8, and the broadswords add 2 each, so it's
14.
8, 10, 12, 14.
Plus D6.
Plus D6.
Which knowing your luck is going to be a 6.
Versus your SR of 4.
Plus D6.
Plus
Which
D6.
will be a 1.
Plus 3, 17.
You're only taking the cock dice because you know I'm going to roll a 1.
Actually,
Do you want me to roll it?
No, sorry.
Cancel each
I
other
was
out.
going to say, whatever you roll here, it's toast.
Yeah.
It's 17.
Yeah, there's
So-
at 17 there's a base difference of 13. Even if I rolled a 6, I would still have 7 damage. More than 6 is insta kill. So the tank is again toasted, and it's going to flip over and become a piece of scenery.
Damage is worked on the difference in the numbers.
The difference between attack and defense rolls.
0 is nothing happens. 1, I think you take an activation token. 3
That's
is
bombard for the activation
bombard?
tokens. They've got similar tables, but for damage, 1 to 3 is a point of suppression. 4 and 5 is 2 points of suppression. 6 plus is
it's
insta
dead.
kill.
Right. So then they're all. Actually, he's normally activated. Everything else is vulnerable. Actually, he was normally activated as well, wasn't he? He was normally activated. So.
Okay, so I get my first activation, and my question for Mark. Now I've lost my spotter for these bombarding tanks and these kind of tactical shooting tanks. Can I activate my captain, who's over here on the other side of the field, and then issue orders to them to bombard something else?
Yes, you can. The captain can essentially take over the role of the spotter there. But remember that the captain is the one who would be issuing the bombard order, so it has to be able to see the target point
Yes,
when it issues
Which he can,
the
more
order.
or less.
so let's have a look.
So you want to hit about here somewhere, don't you?
Oh, no, I can't see. There's a building directly in the way.
Yeah.
Wasn't
However, there isn't. You can hit the blade.
Okay. Now, remember what we were saying last
Yeah.
time. You can either target your fire on a base to try and kill it, or you can do the area effect bombardment. It's one or the other. So the surgical strike would only affect the target
blade,
base,
yeah.
and it's a normal attack, like you were doing, like the blade did to your.
But they still don't need
spotter.
line of sight.
They don't need line of sight as long as the base issuing the order has line of sight.
Mental good.
It calls in the attack.
So I'm going to activate my captain.
So The range is their range, isn't it? So it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. They've got
He's got clear line of sight.
clear line of sight to the blade tank.
Not centre to centre, isn't it? Which actually isn't clear line of sight.
Oh, we won't do that then. Okay, we'll do something different. We won't activate our captain.
You can just bombard something else though.
Only if I could see it. On this occasion, four.
You could just run at me with plebs.
Yes, I was considering that. I am going to activate my third platoon
Yeah.
via my captain here. My captain has 4 activation points. I want to be, ideally, within 4 inches of my target because they get very good, very close. So they can move up to 4 and they can then attack up to 4. They can attack all the way up until 24 inches, but they're more effective at close range. So if I move through there, bit out. Okay, so I'm going to activate squad 3. They're going to go, yeah, so I'm going to move him 4 around that building, oops, to there. 4 around that building to there. He's going to move 4 to just shy there. And then this,
twisted, isn't it?
so they're then going to attack this broadsword directly in front of them. It's outside of 4, so it'll be 4 to 9, which is considered medium range.
Medium range.
Medium range. So at 4
Actually, no, 4 to 9 short range.
oh, short range.
Is it close, short, medium, long? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
Okay.
close assault, short,
Yeah.
medium.
So close
long.
assault is 0 to 4 inches. Close short range is 4 to 9. Medium range is 9 to 24, and long range is 24 to 48. The standard table size is 4 foot by 4 foot, so it's 48 inches. Okay, so they're 4 to 9. My Principes will all collectively attack that broadsword. So it will be me rolling anti-material for one of them, which would be this unit here, which is 4, plus 2 support for this unit, plus 2 support for this unit. So it'll be 8 plus d6 against this broadsword tank here.
My suppression resistance is 6.
So it'll be 8 plus d6 versus...
So you have to beat them by 2, basically.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That bounces, I'm afraid.
Again.
Again, they bounce. So they... Now, because they've moved and shot, they become vulnerable.
If you wonder what we're referring to, we just had a quick run through, and no matter what Jason rolled, it was a 1. No matter what I rolled, it was a 6.
It's terrible, terrible luck. Okay.
That's how it goes.
So that's my first squad activated in this activation.
Yes. So now, the Bigfoot can move. Bigfoot 8. Stay there. Cripes. Puts me to there. And there to 4, isn't it? Decisions. Right, so I'm going to move to here.
Vehicles can pivot any number of times within their activation.
Yep, so you can go forward and then I'm going to disembark with my Bravo squad.
When troops disembark from a vehicle, they must be placed base to base with the vehicle itself.